Oh, hi. I'm Mr. Anime, and boy, do I have a show for you. Today, I'm reviewing Casshan, an early 90s anime that kind of has a Terminator-like story. In fact, they show a Terminator-like image in the beginning for no reason. I mean, if a Terminator fan watched it, they would be highly offended. Anyway, Casshan is about a world that's been taken over by robots. Kind of sounds like the Terminator so far. However, there's a half-human, half-robot that's been reborn, and he's here to stop the robots. His name is Casshan. He used to be a human. Now he's reborn after he got killed as a half-human, half-robot. His dad inhabits the body of the evil Big Black King Boss, which is an evil robot that sits in a castle all day and points his finger around telling people to do shit. The story starts in a machine factory where humans are being forced to do labor by robot guards. They're being forced to build more robots. A girl comes one day to the machine factory, a girl from the forces of humans that are fighting the robots. Of course, there's always got to be a force of humans that are still operating and trying to win back society. Well, she comes to them and tries to get them to rally against the robots. They say that they're not going to fight against the robots because they're waiting on their hero to come, the legendary Casshan, which is known throughout the world. But is Casshan real? The girl doesn't know, but she wants to find out. Eventually, the army girl finds Casshan, and he's not exactly what she thinks he is. He's real quiet and soft-spoken, and he has a dog that always follows him around. The dog also turns into a giant jumbo jet. So is the Black King Boss any good? Not really. He's a big giant robot that's kind of bald. Kind of looks like a robot Goldberg. We find out later in the story that Casshan's father, and for some reason some people call him Casshan and Casshan. I don't know what that's all about. Probably translation issues. But we find out that his father used to be a famous scientist and worked with a Dr. Lester to create Neroids, which are human robot type things that live in peace with the earth and don't destroy the environment. It gets more and more complicated. Black King Boss in one scene brings in Dr. Lester to ask him about the program that they were working on. But as you can see, Dr. Lester does not answer him correctly. Now naturally there's a big irony thing going on where Casshan doesn't know that his father is the robot, but his father knows that Casshan is the son. And when they finally have the big confrontation after all these little stupid side stories of Casshan trying to beat down his minions and foil his plots, it's fairly exciting. And that surprised me because most of the show didn't quite deliver. And on an animation level, I can really see how far animation's come, even since the early 90s. Because sometimes when people move, it looks like they're doing the robot. And not all the time, but sometimes. And also they reuse footage sometimes, like missiles going from ballistic holes or jets taking off or like explosions. I don't know why they do that, because this thing's under 10 episodes. That's kind of fucking stupid. I really like the audio though. That's one thing that really sold to me on the show. It was the very retro style audio, and it was actually really good for being so old. And the narrator had that real high impact announcer voice, like, in fact, he says these exact words several times throughout the show at the end and the beginning. He's like, "The humans are in desperate need of help. Who will save them? If Casshan doesn't save them, who can?" And he says that like at least every episode. And it's okay, but it kind of pisses you off after a while because you're like, yeah, I get it. Casshan's going to save everyone. Now the girl character, she obviously loves Casshan in the show, and she wants to follow him around even though she barely knows him. And there's a shower scene with her that's completely unnecessary. It doesn't add anything to the show. Doesn't necessarily subtract. But something about like early 90s animation of breasts, this isn't doing it for me. Overall, I didn't have a horrible time with Casshan, and as much as I'm sitting here making fun of it, I'm mostly making fun of the things that were technically unsound about it. I would give Casshan a 6.5 out of 10. I almost gave it a 7, but I'm going to give it a 6.5.